I love those mesmerizing videos of the ISS going over the Earth.
Yeah, like I said, I've stopped probably one of these videos where it goes over the United States and just found, use it as a geography lesson.
Yeah, I just love to see the aurora and just all the clouds and everything. It's just it's amazing to me. You know, there's
The
so
beauty, the beauty of the planet is amazing.
it is. It sure is. Okay, who signed on first? James the astrophotographer. He's fast on the button. He says, I was not able to join the Star Party chat live last night. I had a fire across the street from one of the rentals and had to make sure all was safe. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Well, that's really good news. Jay's good.
That is a fairly good reason to miss.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, on the scale of 1 to 10, it comes in at probably, I don't know.
11, something like that.
No, it's not your house.
Oh,
If it's your house, that'd be an 11. But
all right. A 10 then.
9. Although it is somebody's house, so that probably does make it a 10.
ESA is on the hunt for new astronauts. It's only the fourth call for new recruits since 1978. The last selection was in 2008. 6 applicants joined ESA's astronaut corps with the further addition of Matthias Maurer in 2015. This time ESA is looking for 4 to 6 people to become career astronauts. There will also be a reserve pool for special assignments. ESA wants applicants of different gender, age and ethnic background. There will also be opportunities for people with physical disabilities. New astronauts will be announced by October 2022 and will go on to shape the future of human spaceflight.
I'm Kent Martz. Explore Scientific recently added weather and clocks to our lineup. These clocks set their time within NHTSA's radio station to keep them accurate to the second. Our clocks come with a variety of functions. This one is a simple alarm clock.
Well, I just cut Kent short here.
Ow, it hurt. Right at the knees.
Here we go.
I guess we're live.
We're live right now, and poor Uncle Scotty is like a little sleepy and tired after last night. It's a fantastic star party, though. I mean, we had almost 20 presenters on the Global Star Party, and it went, I think I shut it off around 1:30, something like that. So we did have a speed bump. We had, we lost the stream connection. I was able, through the, first off from a phone call from Kent, and then the people on the air with us, they were like, Scott, you're not, streaming anymore. So not sure what happened exactly, but anyways, we were able to pick it back up. And so the 39th Global Star Party is actually in 2 parts. It's been watched now over 2,000 times, and so it was a lot of fun. But a little, Scotty's a little sleepy, so. Anyhow, and then our next Global Star Party is going to be with David Levy, and he's already planning out, a whole lineup of speakers. That guy knows everyone, so it should be pretty interesting to see what he comes up with.
Yeah, Molly had a heck of a lineup.
Oh, okay.
There
Hey,
you go.
Mike, is this louder now?
I was getting ready to say something. Wiesner, say something.
I have my microphone all the way over here. How about that? Do I sound loud enough now?
That's more better.
More better, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Cameron says great. Okay. I trust Cameron. Martin Eastman now, nice and loud. Okay. All right. Sorry. It sounded like this before, huh? Did it sound like that?
He's so tired. He didn't even
So
notice
tired. Yeah, I
the
didn't
big
know that
fuzzy silver thing wasn't in front.
microphone
Yeah.
thingy. Anyways, you guys know, it was just a great star party. And I was talking about David Levy doing the next star party, which should be fantastic. I'm also talking a bit with David Eicher at Astronomy Magazine. And you guys know that he brought out a bunch of his crystals and minerals and his meteorites. And we've been talking back and forth about, what if you had a microscope to study those things? So we've come up with a setup that he can use and broadcast live images through his microscope. And, I've got one back here too. So, we're going to do that, and we're going to create a new, there'll be a new show. I'm going to invite a microscopist on. We'll have live microscopy. We'll have presentations about microscopes so that you can learn more about them. It should be a lot of fun because, that's just the other way of looking at the cosmos, right? So that's the deal.
So Scott, we learned, we were talking, and the question I had was,
Yeah.
how do you figure out the magnification of a microscope? because focal length is never stated. And my instincts were it was going to be objective diameter divided by the eyepiece size.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up, and I was exactly right, but wrong by 180 degrees. Turns out the way you figure out a microscope's magnification is the objective size times the eyepiece size, because it goes the other way. Instead of being, a telescope, it's the opposite of a telescope. It's a microscope. So the math is the same. It's just multiplication instead of division to figure out magnification.
Right.
So I learned something today.
Yep.
Smarter every day.
Every day. That's right. There's a lot of astronomers that have also been microscopists. And one of my big heroes in astronomy is George Ellery Hale. And one of his most treasured gifts that he got from his father. I mean, his father gave him giant telescopes and built observatories and did all this stuff, and of course, he ended up doing that under his own power after a while. But a treasured item that he had was a microscope, so it's something when you're getting into it, you don't have to know a lot. It's kind of like telescopes. You don't need to know a lot. You just go look through the eyepiece. You adjust the focuser until you're getting the best image, and then you learn how to adjust the stage so that the diaphragm, so the illumination makes it the most contrasty, and all the rest of it. And eventually, you learn that optics are very important, just like they are in telescopes, and you might start off with a medium quality microscope, and then if you get really into it, well, microscopes can go up just like telescopes can. So
I was going to say, if you want to buy an $8,000 microscope, hit me up.
Go for a lot more than that if you want. Want it. So, but I think that there's going to be biologists and different people use microscopes that would be happy to tell us their story and to show us examples of what they do and the things that they look for. So I think it'll be really cool. And for all those cloudy nights that we get when you're not image processing, you might look at your favorite tardigrade zoo or paramecium collection or whatever. I have both actually over here, and I'm going to break out the tardigrades again pretty soon. They've been sitting there for months now. And
6 months probably.
6 months. They're still living in the little jar that they live in, and so they're pretty much indestructible. But Pekka said, now I'm looking for another really expensive hobby. Anyhow, it's just the other way of turning everything around to look at the universe the other way.
So Scott, did that I brought in a vial of water that came out of my stock tank from the farm. Did that dry out? Because it might be fun if it
dry out. Yeah, I got it. Let me bring it over here. I got two. They look like petri dishes. So I could.
So we need to reconstitute it and see what happens.
Well, I could take some of the fish tank water and put it in there and see what happens. It might create a war. You never know.
It might be fun to take part of it and just put in, sterile water and just see what comes back to life. After being dried out as an experiment, because it's been dried out since
look at that.
Summer.
Yeah, it's dried out.
So that's what we need to do. We need to reconstitute, and there's two of them, right?
There's two of them.
We need to reconstitute one of them and see what comes to life. That'd be interesting, because that was teeming with little bacteria and stuff
in there. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, let me stop my screen sharing. I've done everything wrong today. So, but the thing I did right is I showed up on time. So that's the deal. So, Kent, I think that you gave the last presentation. I did one for you when you were on vacation, but you're still going through Universe Sampler.
That's right.
Where are you at now? I mean, we went through star hopping, and we went through right ascension, declination, and
Well, let's just go ahead and jump on in.
Okay.
And let me get everything going and come on. Oh, didn't share my screen first.
Cameron wants to see the tardigrades back again.
The tardigrades are pretty cool.
Yeah,
The paramecium are too.
Paramecium are deadly. They're
hungry beasties. Wee beasties.
predatorial. Yeah.
Okay. So that's okay. So we're doing lesson number 8, recording your observations. And we always give that. So Scott, I'd emailed the links to you so you didn't have to retype them.
Yeah.
So there's the links to the Universe Sampler booklet, and then the requirements for the Observing Club. And that's, part of what this is to get people interested in the Astronomical League observing clubs. And this is a really easy one to get into. And it's real, it's real straightforward. So we did 2 lessons last week or Friday because both those were strongly interrelated, I felt like. So lesson 6 was star hopping. It was a very short lesson. Star hopping is the process of accurately moving the telescope from an easy to find location to one that is difficult to find. And success requires using a good star chart. And I should have put practice, because like anything, and every one of these lessons entails practice. And then lesson 7 is eyepiece field orientation. And this is a difficult thing to wrap your mind around and to understand how the number of mirrors changes how things are flipped and rotated when you look at something in the eyepiece. How the diagonal of your telescope is rotated changes it. And, I've always recommend, and the book recommends, experimenting during the house on a sign or a radio tower or something that you can tell left and right and up and down, and see how it looks in the telescope you're using, and then, rotate the diagonal, and then move to another location to see how that affects everything as well. Performing those flips in the eyepiece are challenged because like if you're looking through a finder scope and are using a Schmidt-Cassegrain, the orientations are different. You move one way in the eyepiece of the finder scope and a different way in the eyepiece of the telescope. And it can be mental gymnastics to learn how to get that and really get good at it. So those two things are related. So lesson 8 is recording your observations, and it's a pretty straightforward process. For the Observing Club Awards, you have to record your observations, and the booklet contains sample logs that are easy to photocopy and start using those or create your own. There's no requirement you use theirs, but why reinvent the wheel when all you have to do is copy it or scan it and then reproduce as many as you want. And they provide a checklist compiled by Barbara Wilson, the things that the Observing Club is looking for, name, latitude, longitude. And I'm not going to read all this stuff, but, it gets into all sorts of details, things to look at and work on. And scene and transparency get involved here, and we're going to talk about those a little bit more. There's scales. Everything has a scale to measure it, and there's ways to measure the Bortle scale, and the globe at night has a way to measure star brightness or sky brightness. And intrinsically, seen refers to the stability of the atmosphere. It's the reason stars twinkle. If the stars aren't twinkling, the atmosphere is extremely clear and steady. Well, extremely steady, and you're going to be able to see more than on nights when the stars are twinkling. Likewise, people will have this weird. They will look at a planet at low power, and it's beautiful and crisp, And then they'll think, well, man, I'm going to really crank up the power because this is going to be a fantastic night. And they'll crank up the power, and Jupiter, Saturn, or Mars is just a muddy, jumbled up mess. And it's counterintuitive to them that it would be very sharp and crisp at low power. But what's happening is, for the same reason the stars are twinkling on a point of light across the surface area of the planet, the same effect is happening. And because it's going across, a wider area, it makes everything just turn to mush and mud. So when the sky is very steady, you can go to a lot of power. Okay. So the Astronomical League actually has a scene and transparency guide, and the URL for it is down there at the bottom, astroleague.org/content/scene and transparency guide with hyphens in there. So this is a scale they come up with. E for excellent. The brighter stars are not twinkling. Very good. You can read this. The stars are twinkling. Brighter planets are not twinkling. The bright planets are twinkling slightly. The brighter planets are obviously twinkling. When you see a planet twinkling, the seeing condition is not real good. All objects twinkle to the point where observation is not practical. So transparency refers to the clarity of the sky. Things like pollen and dust and smoke. There's a lot of controlled burns going on here, where they're burning off the national forests. And the sun 2 nights ago was spectacular at sunset. I was driving and didn't get a good picture of it. The recommendation is you look at least 30 degrees above the horizon, because then you're looking through far less air than you are when you're looking lower over the horizon, towards the horizon. So they come up with using Polaris and the Little Dipper for ways to measure transparency as well. All right. And here are some observing logs out of the Universe Sampler book. Real straightforward, nothing hard. You can do a whole lot of work here. And then here's an observing log for things that you don't want to sketch. And I thought it might be interesting to look at some observing logs. This is an observing log from Paul Anderson that he took at the Okie-Tex Star Party on 9/29 of 2000. So 21 years ago. And he was blowing through the M objects. Paul Anderson is a master observer. He has certificate number 50.
Wow.
He is the reason I am in astronomy today in the format I'm in. Got into outreach and astronomical, Sugar Creek Astronomical Society. So, it was just straightforward. I think one of the critical things to think about is, and having suffered through this, is use a pen that dries very quickly. Don't use a felt tip pen. Use a ballpoint pen because it won't smear as bad. And do everything you can to keep your paper dry. Because around here in the spring and summer, it can get pretty humid. And I've had my observing logs that I have filled out get all runny and gooey, and they're harder to read. So, if that happens, I think, the next day going back and re-logging them to where they're easier to read is an important idea. And here's one where he sketched an observing log sheet, a different format. Paul is not an artiste, but, it's not about being an artiste. It's about doing the best you can and learning from it. And, there's a whole science out there where they go back and examine sketches that people did 100, 150 years ago with telescopes and compare them to today, and are using old data to determine new science and build new things. So, and to be an observer, master observer, I think you have to have 20 observing clubs. Is that right? Some number like that, I think. So, Paul is a very good observer and has been at it a very long time, and it's a joy to observe with him. So here's what he did at the Texas Star Party in 2002, a different form, but yet it works well. And not a whole lot of detail, you know. Oh, here's one at the Winter Star Party, 3195, Winter Star Party. He was looking at what? He was using his Celestron CG8, NGC 2362, and Canis Major. This is a small but quite bright open cluster with a bright central star. Real straightforward. All right, so reviewing Lesson 8. Record your observations. To earn the Universe Sampler Observing Club, you must record them. There are things that have to be included in your observing logs. You can refer to the manual on what those are. And this is a personal observation on my part. Recording your observations offers satisfaction years later when you can go back and review what you've done and see, you know, what your observing life has been like. And, you know, David Levy, good friend of the company, and of many people, has recorded
Astronomers, that's true.
every observation he's ever made.
Yeah.
And I think I said this last week, last week, I would love to be able to go back and look at things I did with my dad, you know, when I was 6, 7, and 8, like David was able to do when he started writing those down. So next lesson, the art of seeing. So we just got through talking about seeing, but now we're shifting to a different gear. Seeing in this context we're going to talk about is different from the seeing in the lesson we just finished. Okay. This is seeing with your eyeballs and what you can see. Yeah. Many things affects what you can see. This is all about your eyes. And one of the thoughts to always use is always strive to see more. We'll go into a whole lot more detail next week. That wraps up today's lesson of the Universe Sampler.
Great.
And Scott, I don't know if I've told you this or not, but I think I'm going to, these are, you know, reception has been very good for these. After we're done, I'm going to clean up these PowerPoints a little bit and standardize them a little bit more. Sure. And I'm going to turn them over to the Astronomical League to provide to clubs and who are going through Universe Sampler program.
Good idea, Kent. Now, you've worked a lot with the Astronomical League over the years. You were editor of the Reflector, I guess, for...
Right. 4 years.
4 years. Good
4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So you definitely have contributed a lot to the organization. And, you know, I'm sure they'll welcome having this PowerPoint.
Yeah, I told Terry that and sent her a couple, and she was somewhat happy about the idea. You know, just only slightly overjoyed, and was really excited about the prospects of being able to use those and provide those to people. You know, so anyway, so there's going to be a whole lot more come out of this than that. You still there, Scott?
I'm still here.
Because I closed my screen and I'm not sure what happened.
Oh yeah, you looked lost.
There we go. I did. I was like, everything disappeared. So. Yeah.
So, anyways, wonderful. So, you know, we have. This is just Wednesday, right? So tomorrow we may not have a open go-to community show. We'll have something, you know, we'll either talk about coming attractions or Kent and I will talk about something, but unfortunately Jerry Hubble is not well right now and not feeling quite enough energy to do these programs right now. So we're giving him a break, and
he works hard.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So.
Spends a lot of time.
Yeah. And, you know, if you guys have ideas for me for the, you know, the MicroCosmos shows, you know, I'm calling it MicroCosmos Voyages, let me know. You know, if you are a microscope enthusiast and you'd like to share what you have in your microscope, you know, let's get you on the show and show you how to, you know, show you how to present your specimens to a broad audience. So it'll be a lot of fun. until that time, you guys keep looking up. And
Well, hang up, Scott, before you cancel. If you y'all have a subject you want us to talk about, let us know. I mean, we're open to ideas. This show is about you guys, and gals, the people watching this. If you have a subject that you want us to cover, collimation, or we could always go back in the shop and do a live broadcast from back there and show how to collimate a scope or clean mirrors. There's all sorts of things we can.
Yeah, but we have to know in advance. So if you have an idea, go ahead and email us at explorealliance@explorescientific.com, and we'll do that.
Yep.
Okay. All righty. Anything else you want to add, Ken?
Nope. Love doing these. I've got the PowerPoint basically finished for the next episode. And about halfway through the one after that, there's, I think, 12 or 13 episodes or classes, and we'll be done. I think there's 12. So I think it's geared for 1 a month type of thing. So we have 12 classes, and so we've got, a few more to go. So
very cool. Pecco wants to know how to clean corrector plates. So we have a Schmidt-Castle grain around here.
We have that 14-inch that was donated to Sugar Creek Astronomical Society. We could clean that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so there's your challenge, Kent.
Never done it, but okie dokie.
I'll show you how it's done. Okay.
I'm sure we take it off and pour denatured alcohol and then get a Kleenex and rub it really hard.
Sandpaper.
Okay.
And sulfuric acid as a lens cleaner.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kent Marks. Today we're going to talk about the Apochromatic series of telescopes from Explore Scientific. The Apo series of telescopes have 3 pieces of glass in the front that provide great visual and astrophotography opportunities for the amateur astronomer. They range in size from the ED80 all the way up to the FPL53 165mm telescope. They come in the classic white tube as well as the spectacularly beautiful carbon fiber tube. There's 3 levels of glass. FCD1, which is the Essential series, the FCD 100 series, and the FPL 53 series of glass. Each one has their own benefits. They are all great for visual and astrophotography. For more details and to purchase these telescopes, go to explorescientific.com.
A spacecraft operations engineer. I've been lucky enough to work for U.S. Space Command, in the commercial space industry as well, and now I'm at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory working on the Mars 2020 Perseverance rover. Don't forget to visit NEAF, the virtual experience, April 10th, 2021. It's the world's largest space and astronomy expo. Go to neafexpo.com. I hope you have a great time.